The stars above the planet Zerath glimmered like scattered diamonds across a black velvet sky. Captain Aaron Hale stood at the edge of the research platform, his gaze fixed on the vast alien landscape before him. Zerath was beautiful, but it was also dangerous. Its forests shimmered with strange bioluminescent plants, and the air pulsed faintly with energy he could feel in his bones. For decades, humans had explored distant worlds, but Zerath was different. This planet was home to a species that no human or alien had ever touched safely. Aaron's team had been studying the Luminaries, a race of glowing, energy-emitting beings who were intelligent, sensitive, and deeply cautious. Previous teams had tried to interact with them, but fear often led to failure. Some humans had tried to restrain them. Some aliens had panicked at their glowing energy. All of them had failed to earn the Luminaries' trust. Aaron adjusted his suit and stepped forward, ignoring the tension in his chest. He was not afraid, not completely. He had learned long ago that fear could cloud judgment, especially when dealing with unknown life. His team, however, did not share his confidence. "Captain," Dr. Celine Marsh, the lead xenobiologist, said nervously, her voice trembling slightly. "Remember, no one has ever approached Lyra directly. If you get too close, you could—" Aaron held up a hand to stop her. "I know what I'm doing. We're here to study, yes, but we're also here to understand. Fear will only make her run, or worse, react defensively." Dr. Marsh shook her head, still uneasy. "Just be careful. Lyra is delicate. Her energy can harm humans unintentionally." Aaron nodded. "I will be careful. But she needs to see that not all humans fear her. Some of us can approach without aggression." The platform hummed softly as the team prepared their instruments. Aaron stepped to the edge and looked down into the glowing forest below. Among the trees, a figure moved gracefully, light flickering across her body like liquid stars. She was the first Luminaries they had seen up close. Lyra. She paused mid-step, sensing them. Her eyes glowed softly, shifting in color from pale blue to violet, a sign of caution. She had seen many humans before, and most had been careless, aggressive, or outright fearful. That fear was a wall she had learned to keep between herself and the others. It was easier to live alone than to risk another dangerous encounter. Aaron watched her carefully. He could see the subtle shifts in her energy, the way her body pulsed when she sensed movement. Every color change was a word, every pulse a sentence he needed to understand. Most humans would have panicked at the brightness, but Aaron had trained his mind to focus, to read rather than react. He spoke softly into his communicator, addressing the team. "Keep your distance. Let her see us. No sudden movements. Patience will speak louder than instruments or probes." From the platform, Dr. Marsh frowned. "You're taking a big risk, Aaron, if she senses danger." Aaron shook his head. "Then I'll earn her trust. That is the point of being here." He stepped down onto the forest floor carefully. The ground beneath his boots shimmered faintly as if reacting to his presence. Lyra froze, her body glowing brighter, signaling alarm. Aaron stopped, lifting his hand slowly to show he meant no harm. For a long moment, she just stared, studying him. Aaron mirrored her cautious movements, letting her set the pace. He did not approach too fast, did not make sudden gestures. Instead, he let his gaze meet hers, steady and calm. "You don't have to fear me," he whispered softly, though she might not hear his voice. "I am not here to harm you." The forest seemed to hold its breath. The team above watched tensely as the distance between human and Luminaris slowly closed. Lyra's energy flickered like sunlight through water, testing him. Aaron kept his movements deliberate, respectful. He lowered himself to one knee, showing humility and patience. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, ever so slowly, Lyra shifted a step closer. Her glowing body seemed to test his presence, sensing his intentions. Aaron remained still, heart steady, letting her energy wash over him without reacting fearfully. He could feel the warmth, the pulse of life in a form so different from his own. Dr. Marsh whispered from above, barely audible. She's letting him near." "I've never seen this before." Aaron smiled faintly. "She's not letting me near. She's testing me." "That is different." Minutes passed. Aaron studied every pulse, every flicker of light. Lyra's energy was like a river, and he needed to move like water. Not a stone dropped into it. He extended a hand slowly, palm open, not to touch yet, but to show openness. Lyra's color shifted again, from cautious blue to curious green. It was a small victory. She inched closer, her curiosity battling her fear. She had seen many humans. Most had flinched or reacted in panic when her energy pulsed. Erin did not. That calmness, that bravery was something new, something rare. Finally, she stopped just a few meters away. Erin froze. The energy between them was strong, alive, and electric, but it was not hostile. He could feel her heart beating in her own way, though it was unlike his own heartbeat. Good, he whispered, almost to himself. You see me. You see that I'm not afraid. The rest of the team watched, holding their breath. They knew that any sudden movement could end the interaction. But Erin had learned long ago that fear was more dangerous than energy pulses. He stayed calm, patient, and focused. Then something remarkable happened. Lyra's body shimmered faintly, a sign of recognition. She did not speak in words, they did not have a shared language, but Erin sensed it. She was acknowledging him. Not fully trusting yet, but she saw that he was different. That alone was a breakthrough. Erin took another small step forward, still careful. He could see the muscles in her form tense as she readied herself to flee or defend. But he stayed calm, letting her energy flow over him. He did not try to control it or resist it. He simply existed within it peacefully. She's letting him stand there, Dr. Marsh said in awe. She never does this, never. Other humans would have been driven back or worse, hurt. Erin nodded slowly. Other humans react with fear. Fear is louder than courage. I need her to see calm. A soft hum began in the forest, the sound of life reacting to their interaction. Plants glowed faintly, the air vibrated with energy, and Erin felt the pulse of the world around him. It was alive in a way that no human city had ever been. Lyra shifted again, curious now. Her energy pulsed almost like a heartbeat. Erin mirrored her movements subtly, letting her lead. The team watched, astonished, as trust began to form between species that had never truly touched safely before. Erin whispered again, I am not your enemy. I am here to understand you. This time Lyra did something unprecedented. She extended one of her glowing limbs slowly, not in attack but as a gesture of connection. It was tentative, cautious, and full of unspoken questions. Erin raised his hand slightly, acknowledging her gesture without crossing boundaries. You are brave, he thought to her, using the telepathic communication devices the team had developed. And I respect you. That is why I am not afraid. Lyra's color shifted from blue to soft green, a sign of cautious approval. She was not entirely comfortable, but she was curious. She had never met a human who did not flinch or react in panic. This was new. This was trust in the making. Erin stayed still, letting her study him. Minutes stretched into an eternity, but neither moved aggressively. The forest hummed around them, and the platform above held its collective breath. Finally, Lyra's energy pulsed softly, a sign of acceptance. It was the first time any human had come close enough for her energy to acknowledge without fear. Erin smiled faintly, knowing this was a rare and precious moment. Good, he whispered. This is the start of something new. The team cheered quietly, unable to contain their excitement. They had seen humans touch alien life before, but never with this level of understanding. Erin's courage, his calmness, and his patience had opened a door that others had never even approached. Lyra took a cautious step forward, letting him see her fully. She was magnificent, glowing softly in the dim forest light, her form delicate yet powerful. She studied Erin with an intensity that no human had ever faced. He did not flinch. He held her gaze steadily. You are different, she communicated without words. You are not afraid. Erin bowed his head slightly, a gesture of respect. And you are not alone. I will not harm you. I promise. The moment was fragile, balanced on a thin thread of trust. But for the first time, Lyra allowed that thread to exist. She had met a human who did not fear her, and that changed everything. As the sun of Zirath dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the glowing forest, Erin knew this was only the beginning. Trust had been sparked, a connection formed, and the impossible had begun to feel possible. And for the first time in her life, Lyra considered something she had never considered before. That humans could be more than fearful. Dangerous intruders, they could be friends. The night fell, and the stars above shimmered as if celebrating this small victory. Erin stood quietly watching Lyra retreat to a safe distance, but not too far, sensing that this was the start of a journey that could change the future of human and alien relations forever. Aaron knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges. Lyra would test him again. Her energy could still be dangerous, her reactions unpredictable. But one thing was certain. He was not afraid, and that made all the difference. And somewhere deep in the forest, Lyra's thoughts echoed quietly. The morning sun rose over the glowing forests of Zerath, painting the landscape in soft gold and violet hues. Captain Aaron Hale stood on the edge of the research platform, reviewing his plan for the day. The memory of yesterday's encounter with Lyra lingered in his mind like a spark that refused to fade. For the first time, a human had approached her without fear, and she had not run. That small victory was fragile, but it was enough to give him hope. Dr. Celine Marsh approached him, her expression a mix of worry and curiosity. "Captain, the team wants to know if it's safe to continue interactions today. Lyra, she's unpredictable. Yesterday was remarkable, yes, but today is unknown." Aaron turned to her and smiled gently. "I understand, but unpredictability is part of her nature. If we want to truly understand her, we cannot let fear guide us. Patience and respect are the only tools we have." Celine nodded slowly. "I just hope your courage is enough. She could react violently if she feels threatened." Aaron's gaze shifted toward the forest below. Among the shimmering trees, he could see faint pulses of energy moving like ribbons through the air. Lyra was there, observing him as she always did, her form glowing softly in the morning light. She had retreated slightly overnight but had not disappeared entirely. That was promising. Aaron carefully descended to the forest floor, his movements deliberate. The glowing flora beneath his feet reacted to his presence, bending slightly, illuminating a path for him as if the forest itself was aware of his intentions. He stopped a few meters from where Lyra waited, keeping his hands visible and his body relaxed. Lyra shifted slightly, her energy flickering in shades of blue and green. Curiosity mixed with caution. Aaron spoke softly, using the telepathic devices the team had set up to communicate with her mind. "I will not harm you, Lyra. I only want to understand you. We can take this one step at a time." The forest seemed to hold its breath. For a long moment she remained still, studying him, assessing whether his intentions were genuine. Then slowly she extended one of her limbs toward him, not to touch but to test the space between them. Aaron mirrored her movement with his hand, maintaining an open and respectful posture. "Good," he whispered. "You are cautious, and I respect that." "That is wise." Minutes passed. Aaron did not attempt to close the distance too quickly. He knew from experience that trust could not be rushed. The team on the platform above watched anxiously, noting the subtle changes in her energy. Every flicker, every pulse was a message, a signal that Aaron was learning to read carefully. Suddenly, Lyra's energy surged slightly, a warning. Aaron froze. She had detected a minor tremor in the forest floor. A small creature moving too close, startled by his presence. He stepped back gently, showing her that he could respond to her signals and respect her space. She pulsed again, and Aaron understood. She was testing him. Not for aggression, but to see if he could adapt, if he could remain calm under pressure. He nodded subtly to her. "I understand," he said softly. "I will remain calm." Her energy softened slightly, signaling approval. This small exchange without words was a breakthrough. Lyra had allowed him to demonstrate that he could adapt to her reactions, that he could act without fear. As the morning progressed, Aaron and Lyra engaged in a delicate dance of observation. He studied her movements, her energy pulses, and the way she reacted to different environmental stimuli. He noted how her glow intensified when she felt nervous, and how it softened when she sensed safety. The first real test came when a sudden gust of wind swept through the forest. Lyra reacted immediately, her energy flaring in sharp spikes. Many humans would have recoiled in fear, but Aaron did not. Instead, he stayed still, letting her see that he could handle her energy without panicking. "You see me," he thought to her. "I do not fear you. That is why you can trust me." Lyra pulsed in response, a faint green hue spreading across her form. She had never encountered a human who could remain calm during her natural reactions. For her, this was astonishing. She took a cautious step closer, testing him further. Aaron allowed her to lead. He observed her movements and mirrored them gently, creating a rhythm of mutual respect. Each pulse, each flicker of energy was a conversation, a language of trust that transcended words. By midday, Aaron had gained enough confidence to try something new. He reached out slowly, stopping just short of touching her. This was not an attempt to make contact, but to show willingness to connect, to let her see that his touch would not bring harm. Lyra paused, her energy flickering with uncertainty. Then, in a gesture that surprised even Aaron, she leaned slightly toward him. Her color shifted to a soft yellow, a sign of cautious curiosity. He could feel the tension in the air, the potential for either trust or retreat. "I respect your space," Aaron whispered. "I will not move closer unless you allow it." Her energy pulsed, and this time the message was clear. She was willing to test the boundaries. Aaron smiled faintly. He had waited for this moment, understanding that the first real connection required patience, courage, and respect. Gently, he extended his hand further, allowing his fingertips to hover near her glowing surface. Lyra did not pull back. She seemed to sense that his touch would not harm her, that his courage was genuine. Slowly, Aaron allowed the very tips of his fingers to brush against her energy. A ripple of light spread across her form, bright but not painful. Aaron felt the warmth and subtle vibration of her life force. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced, and yet he did not flinch. He remained calm, steady, and respectful. "You are different," she communicated through the telepathic interface. "You do not fear me. You respect me. Why?" Aaron thought carefully before responding. "Because understanding requires trust. Fear only builds walls. I want to learn, to connect, to understand your world without harming it." For a long moment there was silence. Then slowly Lyra's energy pulsed in a rhythmic pattern, almost like a heartbeat. It was a sign of recognition, of acceptance. Aaron had passed the first true test of trust. Dr. Marsh's voice came over the communicator, filled with awe. "Captain, she's responding to you. I've never seen her do that before." Aaron nodded, keeping his focus on Lyra. "Yes, and this is only the beginning. We must continue carefully." The rest of the morning passed in a similar pattern. Aaron allowed Lyra to approach and retreat at her own pace, observing her energy and adapting to her movements. He learned that her pulses could indicate curiosity, fear, or caution, and he adjusted his behavior accordingly. Each small interaction built a fragile bridge of trust between human and Luminaris. Around midday, a more significant challenge arose. A sudden tremor shook the forest, caused by a minor quake deep beneath Zerath's surface. Lyra's energy flared violently, and she recoiled instinctively. Most humans would have frozen or backed away, but Aaron stayed calm. He extended his hand slowly, letting her see that he could withstand her reaction without fear. "You are safe," he communicated. "I will not let this hurt you." Gradually, her energy stabilized, and she allowed him to remain close. The quake subsided, leaving the forest shimmering softly in its aftermath. Aaron knew that every interaction like this was teaching both of them something new, him about her species, and her about humans. By afternoon, the team had set up instruments to measure her energy safely from a distance. Aaron encouraged Lyra to explore them at her own pace, never forcing her to interact. She moved cautiously among the devices, touching them lightly and observing the reactions. Aaron mirrored her movements subtly, showing her that he was not trying to control her, but to understand and learn together. In one moment, Lyra emitted a strong pulse of light, startling even Aaron for a second. But instead of recoiling, he remained calm. "It's okay," he thought to her. "Your energy is not dangerous if I respect it. We can share this space safely." Her glow shifted from yellow to soft green, a clear sign of approval. She had learned that this human did not fear her, and that was a revelation. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and violet, Aaron and Lyra shared a quiet moment. He knelt slightly, allowing her to see that he would not dominate or control her space. She hovered nearby, her energy calm and steady, a sign that the first real barrier had been broken. "You are the first human who did not fear me," she communicated finally, her tone almost reverent. "Why did you not fear?" Aaron smiled gently. "Because fear builds walls. Courage and respect build bridges. I wanted to meet you, to understand you, not to dominate or harm you." For the first time, Lyra allowed herself to relax fully in the presence of a human. Her energy pulsed softly, a gentle rhythm that seemed almost like a sigh of relief. Aaron had earned a measure of trust that no human had ever achieved before. The forest seemed to echo this new understanding. Plants glowed brighter. Small creatures emerged cautiously, and the air vibrated with quiet energy. It was a moment of harmony, fragile but undeniable. Dr. Marsh watched from above, her voice barely audible in awe. This is unprecedented. He's forming a connection with her. With patience, with courage, he's doing what no one else could. Aaron nodded, still focused on Lyra. Yes, and tomorrow we will go further. But we will go slowly. Every step must earn her trust. Nothing can be rushed. As night fell, Aaron stepped back slightly, giving Lyra space to retreat if she wished. The morning sun filtered through Zerath's glowing forest, painting streaks of gold and violet across the bioluminescent plants. Captain Aaron Hale stepped carefully onto the soft, shimmering ground, his eyes scanning the forest for any signs of Lyra. Yesterday's encounter had been a breakthrough, but Aaron knew that trust was fragile. One wrong move could undo all the progress they had made. From above, Dr. Celine Marsh observed the scene, noting every pulse of light and color from Lyra. She's out there, she said softly. I can see her energy flickering in the trees. But today could be different. Aaron nodded, though his focus remained on the forest floor. Different in what way? Celine shrugged. She's cautious, yes. But now that she knows you are not afraid, she may test you in ways we cannot predict. Be ready, Aaron smiled faintly. I have never been more ready for anything in my life. He stepped forward slowly, allowing his eyes to adjust to the shifting light. The forest was alive with energy, and every step brought him closer to Lyra. She had moved cautiously closer over the night, her glowing form a soft beacon among the tall, alien trees. When she saw him, she paused. Her colors flickered rapidly, blue, green, yellow, a mixture of caution, curiosity, and something that might have been hope. Aaron froze, showing her that he respected her space. You are not alone, Lyra, he communicated through the telepathic interface. I am here to learn and understand. Nothing more. Her glow softened slightly, indicating acknowledgement. She shifted closer, letting him observe the subtle changes in her energy. Each pulse, each flicker was a wordless conversation, a language of trust and understanding. For the first time, Aaron realized just how complex her communication truly was. It was not just the pulses of energy or the colors. It was the rhythm, the intensity, the subtle shifts that conveyed emotion. He had to pay attention to every detail to respond appropriately. The first real test came when Lyra led him to a small clearing in the forest. The ground beneath them pulsed faintly with energy, responding to their presence. Aaron noticed tiny creatures emerging from the plants, curious about the humans. Most humans would have panicked, but Aaron remained calm, allowing Lyra to lead. She stopped in the center of the clearing, her energy pulsing brightly. It was a clear signal. She wanted him to observe something. Aaron knelt slowly, keeping his posture non-threatening. He studied her carefully, noticing the subtle changes in her glow as she moved her limbs delicately. Then, without warning, Lyra extended one of her glowing limbs toward a nearby plant. The plant reacted instantly, its glow intensifying and spreading in a pattern that mirrored her movements. Aaron's eyes widened. She's teaching me, he whispered. She's showing me how her world works. The realization struck him. Lyra was not just alive. She was deeply connected to her environment. Every pulse of her energy influenced the plants, the air, even the creatures nearby. She was part of a living network that humans had never fully understood before. Aaron extended a hand slowly, just a few inches from her glowing limb, careful not to touch her yet. Lyra pulsed softly, acknowledging his presence without withdrawing. He could feel her energy brushing against his, not in a physical sense, but as a flow of life and intention. You are patient, she communicated silently. You do not rush. You do not fear, Aaron nodded. Because understanding comes from patience. And courage is more than facing danger. It is facing the unknown without fear. They spent hours in the clearing, observing, learning, and communicating through the subtle language of energy. Aaron discovered that Lyra's species had a form of memory embedded in their energy. By touching certain plants, she could recall past events, lessons, and emotions. It was as if the entire forest was a living library, and she was both the librarian and the key to accessing its knowledge. Dr. Marsh watched from above, awe in her voice. Captain, this is extraordinary. She's showing you things no human has ever seen. You're not just observing her, you're learning from her. Aaron smiled. And she's learning from me too. Trust is a two-way street. She needed to see that I would not harm her. Now she's willing to teach me. The real test came in the afternoon. A sudden tremor shook the forest, a larger quake this time. Lyra reacted immediately, her energy flaring in sharp pulses. Plants around them bent and shimmered violently. Most humans would have panicked, but Aaron remained calm. He stepped forward slowly, letting her know he would not run or retreat. Lyra, he communicated, you are safe. I will not let this hurt you. Her pulses slowed slightly, though she remained tense. Aaron reached out gently, letting his fingertips hover just above her glowing surface. She flinched at first, but then relaxed slightly as he did not move further. You are brave, she communicated. Not like others. Others would have run, Aaron nodded. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to stay calm and respectful in the presence of the unknown. Over the next few hours, Aaron and Lyra explored deeper into the forest together. He followed her lead, observing her interactions with plants and creatures. She demonstrated how her energy could influence growth, heal minor injuries in creatures, and even calm storms of minor turbulence in the air. Aaron realized that her species was not just intelligent. They were deeply attuned to the environment in ways humans could scarcely imagine. At one point, Lyra paused at the edge of a small pond, her glow reflecting in the water. She dipped a limb in, and the water shimmered with vibrant colors. Aaron knelt beside her, observing the patterns. You are learning, she communicated silently, and you are patient. Few humans can do this, Aaron smiled faintly, because I have to. To understand you, I must see the world as you see it. Fear blinds humans to beauty and knowledge. Courage opens the way. They spent the entire day together, moving slowly through the forest, communicating without words. Aaron learned to read her pulses, her flickers, and her subtle shifts in color. Lyra, in turn, seemed to observe his reactions, noting his patience, calmness, and courage. By evening, they reached a clearing with a large crystal formation. The crystals hummed softly, responding to the ambient energy. Lyra hovered near the largest crystal, and Aaron approached cautiously. She extended a limb toward him, a gesture he had come to recognize as trust. Carefully, he allowed his fingers to brush the edge of her glowing form, feeling a surge of warmth and gentle vibration. It was not uncomfortable or dangerous. Rather, it was a unique form of connection, a sharing of energy that conveyed trust, curiosity, and understanding. You are the first human who did not fear me, she communicated again, her tone calm but filled with significance. Why did you not fear? Aaron thought carefully. Because fear builds walls. Courage and respect build bridges. I wanted to meet you as a friend, not a threat. I wanted to learn, not to dominate. Her glow pulsed softly, almost like a sigh. She hovered closer, allowing him to observe her fully. It was a moment of profound connection, one that neither species had ever experienced before. Dr. Marsh watched from the platform, her voice barely audible in awe. Captain, this is historic. You're not just interacting with her. You're forming a connection, one that could change everything. Aaron nodded, still focused on Lyra. Yes, but we must remain patient. Trust is fragile and we cannot rush it. Night fell over Zirath and the forest glowed softly in the dim light. Lyra hovered near Aaron, her energy calm and steady. They did not speak aloud, they did not need to. The connection they had formed was beyond words, a bond of trust, curiosity, and mutual respect. Aaron reflected on the lessons of the day. He had learned that bravery was not about fighting or conquering. It was about patience, understanding, and the willingness to face the unknown without fear. Lyra had shown him a world he could never have imagined, and in return, he had shown her that humans could be more than fearsome strangers. They could be allies, friends, and partners in understanding. As he prepared to leave the forest for the night, Aaron felt a surge of hope. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new lessons, and perhaps deeper connections. But for now, he had earned something extraordinary, the trust of a being unlike any he had ever encountered. Lyra's thoughts pulsed gently in his mind as he stepped back. Perhaps humans are not all fear. Perhaps some can be trusted. Perhaps this is only the beginning. The stars above Zirath twinkled silently, witnessing the birth of a bond that could bridge the gap between species. It was fragile, delicate, and entirely new, but it was a bond forged by courage, patience, and understanding. Aaron knew that the future would hold many trials, but he was ready. Because now he had learned the true meaning of bravery, not the absence of fear, but the ability to touch the unknown with respect, curiosity, and an open heart. And somewhere deep in the glowing forest, Lyra pulsed softly, a sign that she too had learned something extraordinary, that humans could be trusted, that fear could be overcome, and that connection was possible even across the greatest of differences. The forest of Zirath glowed softly under the light of twin moons. Captain Aaron Hale moved carefully, his senses alert for anything unusual. The past days had been extraordinary, filled with trust, learning, and a connection with Lyra unlike anything he had experienced before. But today felt different. There was a tension in the air, subtle but unmistakable, as if the planet itself was warning him of change. Lyra hovered a few meters ahead, her glowing form soft yet steady. She had allowed him closer than ever before, a sign of the trust that had grown between them. The bond they had formed was delicate, but it was strong in its own way. For Aaron, every pulse of her energy, every subtle flicker of light was a wordless conversation that he understood more clearly than any spoken language. "Captain," Dr. Celine Marsh said softly from the platform above, her voice tinged with concern. "We're picking up unusual readings from the forest. Something is approaching. It could be dangerous." Aaron nodded, his focus still on Lyra. "Stay calm. We've learned patience and observation. That will guide us now as well." The trees ahead shifted slightly and a low rumble echoed through the forest. Lyra's glow intensified, flashing shades of blue and red, a signal of alarm. Aaron immediately understood. The creatures of this forest, usually calm and cautious, were agitated. He could feel the tension radiating through the ground, through the plants, and through Lyra herself. "You are safe," he communicated to her silently. "I am here. Nothing will harm you while I am near." She pulsed in response, calming slightly. Aaron stepped forward carefully, his hands open and visible, a gesture of reassurance. He had learned that trust required more than words. It required courage, calmness, and the willingness to face the unknown without fear. Suddenly, a shadow moved through the trees. It was massive, larger than any creature he had seen on Zirath. Its eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, and its body radiated a strange, unstable energy. Lyra recoiled instinctively, and Aaron held his ground. "Do not fear," he communicated. "I will not run. I will not harm you. Let us understand each other first." The creature paused, sensing his calmness. Most humans would have panicked, but Aaron stood firm, meeting its gaze steadily. Slowly, Lyra moved closer to him, her trust in him evident in the way her glow softened. Together they faced the creature. Aaron observed carefully. The being was not aggressive, it was frightened and curious. Its energy pulsed erratically, and Aaron realized that it reacted to fear and tension. He took a deep breath and focused on calmness, allowing his presence to radiate reassurance. Lyra extended a limb toward the creature, and Aaron mirrored her movement. He could feel the subtle energy flows, the rhythm of her gestures, and he followed faithfully. The creature's pulses slowed and its eyes softened. It was a fragile moment, but it worked. Dr. Marsh whispered from above, barely audible. "Incredible. He's calming it with his presence. I've never seen anything like this." Aaron nodded, not taking his eyes off the creature. Courage is not fighting. Courage is patience, calmness, and understanding. That is what humans bring. The creature finally relaxed enough to approach cautiously. Lyra guided it with gentle pulses of energy, and Aaron moved alongside her, maintaining the connection. Together they formed a circle of calm that allowed the creature to understand they meant no harm. After several tense moments, the creature turned and retreated, leaving the forest calm once more. Lyra's glow shifted to soft green, a sign of relief and gratitude. Aaron allowed himself a small smile. They had faced danger together, and it had strengthened the trust between them. "You see me," he communicated to Lyra silently. "I am not afraid. I will not harm you. Together we can face what comes." Her pulses softened, rhythmic and gentle. "You are the first human who did not fear. Perhaps together we can face anything." For the rest of the day, Aaron and Lyra explored deeper into the forest. He observed her interactions with plants, animals, and the flowing energy that connected everything. She showed him how her pulses could heal minor injuries in creatures, how she could guide growth in plants, and how she could influence small environmental changes safely. Aaron marveled at the complexity of her world. Humans had studied ecosystems for centuries, but Zirath's network of life was unlike anything he had imagined. It was intelligent, responsive, and deeply interconnected. And Lyra was at the center of it, not as a ruler but as a part of the system. At one point, they came across a clearing filled with crystalline formations. The crystals pulsed faintly, responding to ambient energy. Lyra hovered near the largest crystal, her glow reflecting beautifully in its facets. Aaron knelt beside her, observing the interaction. "You are teaching me," he communicated silently. "I am learning how your world works, how your energy flows. Thank you for trusting me." Her glow pulsed warmly, as if in acknowledgement. "You are patient. You are brave. Few humans could do this." As the sun began to dip, painting the forest in gold and violet, Aaron realized that trust had reached a new level. Lyra allowed him closer than ever before. He could observe her fully, understanding her gestures, her pulses, and her energy in ways that no human had before. Dr. Marsh's voice crackled over the communicator. "Captain, I think we've reached a point where it's safe to document your connection fully. This is historic. You're bridging the gap between species." Aaron nodded, still focused on Lyra. "Yes, but respect and patience must remain. Trust is fragile, and we cannot break it by rushing." That night, as the twin moons rose over Zarath, casting silver light over the glowing forest, Aaron and Lyra sat together, though sat was more a term of convenience as Lyra hovered gracefully in the air. Their energies flowed close, gentle, and rhythmic, a silent conversation that conveyed understanding, curiosity, and friendship. Aaron reflected on the lessons of the past days. He had learned that bravery was not about fighting or dominating. It was about patience, understanding, and the willingness to face the unknown without fear. Lyra had shown him a world of connection and life that humans had never experienced. And in return, he had shown her that humans could be calm, courageous, and trustworthy. Suddenly, Lyra pulsed brighter, her glow vibrant in the moonlight. She extended a limb toward him, and Aaron allowed a gentle touch. The energy flowed between them, warm and reassuring. This was not just trust, it was a bond, one that neither species had ever experienced before. "You are different," she communicated. "You do not fear me. You respect me. You are brave in ways I have never seen. Perhaps humans can be allies." Aaron smiled gently. "Humans have always faced the unknown with courage. That is what allows us to connect, to understand, and to learn. And today we have learned together." The next morning, Aaron was called to a ceremonial clearing near the edge of the forest. Lyra had arranged a gathering of her species, a rare event. Others of her kind hovered around, their glows flickering in colors he could barely distinguish. They had gathered to witness the connection between Aaron and Lyra, a bond that had never existed before between humans and Luminaris. Aaron approached slowly, hands raised in respect. Lyra hovered beside him, her glow steady and calm. The other Luminaries pulsed in acknowledgement, their curiosity and admiration evident. Some had never seen a human close without fear. Now they observed, learning from his patience, calmness, and courage. Lyra spoke silently to Aaron. "They are watching. They will see that humans can be trusted. That courage and respect matter more than strength." Aaron nodded. "Then let them see. Let them understand. Perhaps this is the beginning of something greater." One of the elder luminaries approached, its glow brighter than the rest. It extended a limb toward Aaron, a gesture of respect and recognition. Aaron mirrored the gesture, keeping his movement deliberate and gentle. The elder pulsed in approval, acknowledging that humans were capable of trust, patience, and courage. Dr. Marsh observed from the platform above, nearly in tears. "Captain, you've done it. You've shown them the humanity they've never seen before." Aaron focused on Lyra. "It was not just me. It was the trust she allowed. That made this possible." The gathering lasted for hours. Aaron and Lyra demonstrated their bond, showing how humans and Luminaries could communicate, cooperate, and share understanding without fear or aggression. The elders observed closely, nodding and pulsing in acknowledgement. It was a historic moment, the first real recognition of humans as allies by an entirely alien species. As the ceremony concluded, Lyra turned to Aaron. "You are the first human who did not fear me. You have shown courage and respect. I am grateful. Perhaps Together, we can explore and protect our worlds. Aaron smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment he had never known. We will face challenges, but together we can learn, grow, and protect life. Trust has been built, and now we can move forward. The stars above Zirath twinkled silently, bearing witness to the first true union between human courage and alien trust. Aaron knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges, discoveries, and dangers, but he also knew that this bond could change the future for both species. For Lyra, it was a revelation. Humans were not all fear and aggression. Some could be allies, brave enough to face the unknown with patience, respect, and courage. And for Aaron, it was a reminder that true bravery was not measured by strength alone, but by the ability to connect, to understand, and to face the unknown without fear.